are oftentimes very inspirational. Seeing our cats and our dogs. And,
they're not like.
Yeah.
They're judging me.
All right, yeah. So how we live in this world and tune into those inspiring moments, or just those things, be it the light in the room, or those times where the depression isn't taking over. Tuning into that, I think, is so important. So yeah. There might be some aspiring artists out there. How many people are an aspiring artist? Show of hands, show of hands. Quite a few. What kind of advice, if any, and I know it's not necessary to give advice today, but just like what kind of tips and what would you want to share with an aspiring artist?
I took notes for the ones that you sent us. Sorry, I'm not trying to be rude.
No, I took notes too. I
forgot.
Well, you guys are doing great, so no problem.
Okay, well, I don't. You got anything?
I do if you want a minute.
I'll just start. Just a little something. Oh, well, I actually, before I said what I was looking at there, it's like cool to do art. You should know it's like not necessarily better or like more easier or more fun all the time. I mean, sometimes, I don't know. I don't want it to be too romanticized. There's a bunch of bullshit and hard work and like emails and doing your own fucking taxes and stuff. It makes no sense in my case. I'm so frightened. But yeah, there's a thing for me that is like balancing between knowing, remembering. I don't know if this applies to everybody, but remembering that there's an audience potentially there, and it's for other people. And then there's the other side of it, which is like what you want to see. I think the best thing when you're taking in art is seeing someone hit their own stride and not trying to please you, but mining the real stuff, finding stuff that's in there, not like looking at like what do people like and trying to do that. So so you want to be mining the real stuff, the real treasures that you can find in your heart and brain, but also balancing that with like you're making a gift for people. You're trying to make some people a little gift. That's how I think about it. And you should have both things. You should just have both things and don't let one become the only thing you're paying attention to.
And always only do art for applause. Yeah, you don't. It's okay. We think you're great. One of them. The thing with that too is that I think that duality of sort of like, I think, especially with performing arts for my experience personally with drag, in the queer community, it does become this sort of like elevated othering, like, you must be, you know what I mean? Just because, we're just the ones getting on the stage and being loud. Like, every queer art form is super valid, and I feel like specifically in this community, I see sometimes the louder queer arts getting a lot of like regard, and some of the quieter queer arts not getting as much of the regard. And I do have sort of this urge to like go up to some of like our ceramic folks and be like, yeah! because everybody should be kind of screamed at like that. And then I also think like, so there's a sort of an ordinariness of performers and artists. There's like a deep, regular ordinariness. But also there's something to me with drag specifically that like this idea that, so with Club Triangle, with the drag show we do here, we had to make a decision a few years ago of whether we were going to be a show that put up excellent performances and then we would be an excellent drag show, or if we were going to be a show that put up everybody and we were going to be a community drag show. And what we really found is when you are putting up everybody in your community drag show, it makes excellent performances. And And you have to have room to be bad. Be bad at art for a while. Be so bad at stuff, and be bad at a bunch of different stuff, and just be like, I try to post regularly the video of my first time practicing as Tucker, because it's just so embarrassing. And I couldn't even point in a cool way. I'm like, and so I would say just like, yeah, thank you. I did that. So I really think that, number one, yeah, we're kind of ordinary, we're all kind of ordinary, but we're all like exceptionally magical at the same time. And nobody else can make the art you made, because coming back to that Marina Abramovich idea, like you're the only one built like you. You're the only one with your experiences, with your family history, with your genetic history, with your place and time, with your moods, with the things that people have said to you, whatever. So you're the only one really that can make your expression, your art. And so with Club Triangle, I love to see, it's just a cavalcade of imagination, And that's the other thing I want to say about, I'm just talking way too much about this, but last thing and then I'll wrap this up. But your imagination is what is, to me, the objective of the art in a way. It's like the healthier you are at imagining, you're actually going to be a better empathizer, because you can better imagine what it's like to be other people that aren't having the same experience as you. So the more you practice art, the healthier your visual imagination, your ability to imagine gets, and we just get healthier, I think, from that in general. So go make art and make it really bad.
Have you heard of Maxine Green?
What was that?
Maxine Green? Oh, she's this great art educator. She just passed away at like 96 a couple of years ago. But she has this whole book called Releasing the Imagination that's about that, and about how arts education is sort of training people to be empathetic, to think about what it is, through art, to think about what it is to be like other people and live through that.
Yeah.
And that's been exciting to me. But yeah, I echo the bad art thing. I've been trying to practice addiction. Like I make sure that I paint for hours every day, because if I don't, I stop. So like I have to like constantly be obsessed with it. And I make bad paintings constantly. There's so many paintings of my cat in my house that are never going to be outside of my house. But I think that there's a Nathaniel Hawthorne quote: "You learn to paint in spring," or you learn to skate in spring. And I think that's that idea that you just do every day, and then at some point you're going to make something okay.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I think it's exciting. Thank you for that.
Great, thank you. Powerful stuff. And your point about how the loud versus the quiet art, and kind of honoring all of those different sort of pathways, is something that we can each do in our own ways. Even as a social scientist, I remember when I was a struggling graduate student and I was working on all kinds of different topics, but I had never thought I would look at alternative sexuality. But about that time, the DSM-5 was being talked about, and there were some stigmatizing diagnoses around sexual sadism and sexual masochism, and I'm realizing that the kink community was not being represented by my own field. So I kind of dropped everything. I should have been working on my dissertation, but I just did this fun community-based project where the kink community was able to share the role of the BDSM community in their life, because that was the right time and that was the right question. I never thought I would be a professor. I thought I would never get hired because I did a BDSM study. But one foot in front of the other, life takes you places. And so I think with art, and well-crafted community-based social science, there's an element of risk-taking. You have to take these risks and see what happens, and you won't know for sure. Have you had to take like risks in your art? Like, do you feel like, what's the role of risk taking in your art?
This is the least risky thing, but my dissertation was a comic book, which, oh god. But it was, a dissertation that I submitted for a doctoral degree at a Research One university, which at that point hadn't been done then. So it was like risky within the context of academia and not at all risky to anybody else in the world. But it felt like I had to talk to lawyers and stuff. It felt exciting.
Do you want me to go?
Go.
Okay. So I think drag felt super scary at first for a really long time, especially the transition of like from when my babysitter would get to my house and her parents would drop her off to like stopping by and getting gas really quick and then getting to the venue. That transition out in public spaces in drag was scary for a long time. And then I lived in Red Bluff when I started drag, and I don't know if you've ever heard of Red Bluff, but it is judging us now as we speak. And so it was a scary place to do that. And then, I think I like to do drag in places where people really are not expecting. That piece that I did just a few minutes ago, I'm a part of a burlesque troupe, and I did that at a burlesque show last month. And let me tell you how much that is not what people paid to see at a burlesque show. They did not want to talk about Nazis from someone who's not stripping. And so it's really fun to take sort of gender questioning into places that are not expecting that, and to do it for me in a way that's like, hi, hey, is this making you uncomfortable? That's okay, you're fine, And I just, I see cis, straight white males just, struggling under this. But yeah, I think for me, the risk is a part of why I do it, because I think that being countercultural is what I need out of my art right now.
I'm super risk averse by nature. I have just I don't know how to say it. I'm risk averse. I don't need to say it again. Somehow, I first wore a dress in secret when I was 17, and I think I was 25 when I did it in public out in the world. And I'm slow to do something that I'm nervous about. And I think I guess I wanted to say that because you can be that person and still do stuff and be really out there, and it's like the last question actually, you just be bad at it for long enough to have it as a habit that you're good at, or that you're almost good at, or getting better at. I wanna, to me it feels so risky every time I get up in front of people. My whole body says no, and it just feels not natural to me. I get nervous every time, and I've been performing in front of people for many years. I don't know. That's the end of that.
I teach teaching. I teach art education, so I teach teaching, but I still spend sleepless nights before every time I meet a new class. So it's I swear it's not scary, but then also I'm terrified all the time. So
I was thinking about the phrase this morning when my came up. I was like, everybody's nervous. Literally, everybody's nervous. and I'm perpetually, my armpits feel weird almost all the time, and especially before I get up on stage, I gotta go to the bathroom, and I know I don't really have to go to the bathroom, and even just talking to people, yeah, it's all scary.
Not me, Tucker. I'm completely chill. You know. I've got a recording artist who I adore, whose music I adore. I have my old bandmate, and I have a wonderful force of nature in Humboldt. I am not nervous at all.
All those forces of nature, I'm terrified.
Yes. No, I'm very nervous, but you do it anyway, right? Well, we have time for a few more questions. Are there questions from the audience? People would like to ask? Yeah.
Hi.
Hi, Aaron.
So I actually mentioned this question this morning in class, but it's really, oh gosh.
Yep.
Right, it's my key. So based on all the answers that you've given, I guess my question is, art's hard. Art is hard because it's basically a megaphone for all of your feelings and emotions, and the whole world's being